Hi friends, Mawdiay Faith here again, and I thought that we could continue reading chapter 5 of Fearful's Journey Through the Desert. But before I get started, I wanted to tell you of an exciting proposal I have for you guys. If you will join me in trying to share Fearful's journey, the story of Fearful's journey through the desert, with your friends on your social media, whether that be Facebook or Twitter or wherever you do your social media, if you will post my YouTube video on your social media and watch this video to the very end, because I have a password for you. So you have two jobs. Watch to the very end because I have a password for you. And then post my video onto your Twitter account or Facebook, or whatever your social media is. And then if you do that, I will get you a free $20 gift certificate to Barnes & Noble, because all good book readers love Barnes & Noble, right? And show me your post onto my YouTube video onto your social media, and the password through my Facebook messages, and I will post that in the comments below, and I will get you that $20 gift card for posting this YouTube video on your social media and giving me the password. So let's get started. Of course, I have to find my spot. I thought I had it. I am so sorry. What would you do if you were fearful in this spot that she has found herself? She's lost the person that she had such a hope for, and now she's not quite sure what she's supposed to do. She's still a slave to Prince Iniquity. What would you do if you were in her place? Tell me in the comments below. Noble, conceited, looked at her with eyes filled with shame and uncertainty, but after a second slowly nodded his head. He tore a piece of old cloth from the mattress and grabbed a piece of coal from the coal box and proceeded to write on it. He handed her the piece of old cloth with writing on it, but Fearful couldn't read and so had no idea what it said. A look of tender love crossed his face as he handed it to her. At the sight of this look, Fearful guessed its meaning. "I'll make sure it gets to your wife." With that, Scaredy Cat blew out the candle, and the two girls left his shack. The moon was still behind the clouds, so they didn't worry so much about being caught. It only took a second to get back to their shack, and once inside, the two fell into their cot without taking their sandals off. "How on earth do you plan on getting close to the noble lady?" Scaredy Cat asked in an incredulous whisper. "I don't know, but we'll think of something," Fearful whispered back with an exhausted sigh. She had got up around 5, and it probably was 10 by now. Even though she was so tired and every muscle hurt, she didn't fall asleep until an hour later. When she did fall asleep, her dream world was haunted with nightmares. The war that had started inside her followed her into her dreams. In her dream, she was running through the desert trying to find Prince Anointed One. Then Prince Iniquity's guards caught her. She was whipped to an inch of her life. Next, she was thrown into a dark, slimy dungeon. Rats and snakes were crawling all over her and biting her. Ghastly ghosts cackled at her. "Why would Prince Anointed One want you? You are dirty, you are broken, you are just a worthless slave." Yet, even in her nightmares, Prince Anointed One's voice always seemed to come dancing into her dreams as on the wind, calling her to come to him. What would you be thinking after a dream like that? Sounds like a creepy dream to me. What do you think? Ugh. Anyhow, tell me in the comments below what you think. Oh no, don't look now, but our nightmare is coming, Scaredy Cat whispered the next morning. Fearful lifted her head ever so slightly, and sure enough, there came the prince. But what she noticed first was the very pregnant young lady at his side. Fearful's eyes got big with excitement as she recognized Lady Uncertainty, Noble Conceited's wife. She had spent the entire morning of weeding beans, trying to think of a plan to get close to Lady Uncertainty. The girl couldn't have been more than 2 years older than Fearful, but being better fed, looked older. I'm going to give the message to the lady. Give me those 2 empty buckets. Are you crazy? Are you trying to get killed? This is more than likely the only chance I'll get. Now give them to me. Fearful tried not to look at Scaredy Cat's terrified brown eyes as she took the buckets from her. Fearful was anxious enough as it was. She didn't need someone else being scared. She had made a promise. So, lifting her head high with determination, she marched off to get some water. She tried to ignore the big knot that had lodged itself in her throat and her heart that was hammering in her chest. It was one thing to look determined, and a different thing entirely to feel determined. Her knuckles were going white from her tight grasp on the rough wooden handles. Still, she desperately tried to cling on to the courage she felt that King Holy One had given her the night before. How would you be feeling right now? She's taking a great risk. How do you think? Put your thoughts in the comments below, please. When Fearful came back from the creek with the buckets brimming with water, Lady Uncertainty was off her horse and was standing at the edge of the garden. It was just as Fearful had hoped. She sighed with relief that her plan was starting out well. Taking a deep breath, she headed right towards Lady Uncertainty. I hope all this is worth it. When she was a foot away, she made herself stumble and fling her buckets of water. Just as she had anticipated, the water went all over the lady's exquisitely embroidered gown. You clumsy, stupid fool! You just wasted water and made the lady all wet, Overseer yelled, coming at Fearful with his whip. Don't you even lay one strike of that whip on her! It was an accident and I was a fool enough to get off my horse! Lady Uncertainty's high, shrill voice pleaded. Milady, I'm so very sorry. Here, let me wipe you off. With that, Fearful took the letter from her pocket and started wiping the water off a bit. Thank you, I... Fearful quickly slipped the cloth letter into Lady Uncertainty's hand. Oh yes, I should go get changed. Please, your highness, don't let this man whip the poor girl. It was just an accident. Lady Uncertainty put an imploring pale white hand on Prince Iniquity's arm. Fearful quickly ran to the creek to get some more water. She was quaking all over. As the buckets filled, she took several deep breaths, trying to calm herself down. She went back to the garden, head down, so she wouldn't have to see the angry faces of Overseer and Prince Iniquity. I'll teach you a lesson, not to be such a clumsy, lazy fool. You'll do 5 extra rows once everyone else is done. Prince Iniquity grabbed her arm tightly and hissed. Who is he calling lazy? I work 10 times harder than he ever has. The thought popped into Fearful's head, but she quickly pushed it away, afraid to even think it. How would you feel in that situation where he's calling you lazy? How would you feel? Still, it started her really thinking. Prince Anointed One had expected her to work, but he had always given a helping hand. Prince Iniquity always overworked his slaves and didn't even think of helping. He was the lazy one, so why he was angry at her was beyond Fearful's imagination. The clouds that started gathering last night now covered the sky as far as Fearful could see in every direction. As Fearful got back to work, the sky started to rumble, like a storm was about to start any second. The daylight was really gray, like late dusk, and a light breeze had picked up, signaling the cool, rainy season. Closing her eyes, Fearful smiled with pleasure as the cool wind danced around her hot, worn-out body. A murmur of rejoicing sounded through the huge garden. This meant that they were almost done with garden duty and would soon start inside duties. It would also be a lot cooler. So, that was the end of chapter 5 of Fearful's Journey Through the Desert. And like I promised, here is the password. Prince Anointed One is love! ! If you will post this video on your social media and send me a screenshot at my Facebook page, Mawdiay Faith Books. Send me a message with that screenshot of the YouTube video posted to your social media, and I will make sure to send you that gift card for $20 to Barnes & Noble. I hope that blesses you. God bless. Bye.